What's going on? Skitty-bitty-bop-beep-bitty-bitty-bop.
Are you going to scat now?
Yeah, don't you miss me singing to open the show?
No.
Whatever.
No, I do not.
Only because that's pretty much your entire life, all day, every day.
Yes. Some people may miss it. I don't know.
Oh.
I see Guitar Missy says knock knock, like come and knock on our door.
Well, I just want to say that whenever we hang out with Danica, one thing I love is that she is a random singer as well.
That's true.
So it makes, and a lot of times the song she randomly sings is the exact same song I want to randomly sing at the same time.
Because it's a reference of something someone says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
you
true.
guys are weird.
Whatever. What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's Sunday. This is Sunday Live with Katy and Vikki, a.k.a. Victoria, when she wants to be taken very seriously, a.k.a. not amused by my singing, but should be, a.k.a. whatever. A.k.a. my wife.
Notice how excited or how less excited she is to say that now that we've been married almost a year.
Well, it was fun to say my fiance, but when I say my wife, it's impossible to say it without sounding like, what's his name?
Borat.
My wife, and I don't really want to do a Borat impression, but it's really impossible to say that without. So, anyway, but that's why, guys, that's why I do love Bob's Burgers and why Linda is my favorite character in Bob's Burgers, because she is a random singer.
And sings
And I love
stupid
it.
songs.
How dare you? This is how we're starting the day. So rude. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing? What's happening? How's all of your Sundays going? Yeah, it's really weird how to have it all of a sudden get really dark. And what's funny is I grew up in the Pacific Northwest, so obviously anywhere in the U.S. other than Arizona, apparently, you have, when you set the clocks back, all of a sudden things get dark an hour earlier, and then as the winter comes on, it gets darker and darker. What I didn't even think about is that when you get down south, it gets darker even earlier.
It's true.
So
it's true. In
Vegas,
summer, the nights last longer. It doesn't get completely dark until after 9, closer to 10 in the middle of the summer. In Vegas, by 4 o'clock, pitch black. Now, starting
before
in the
5,
next
like
week or
4:30 or so. Yeah, it's really weird. When it's like the shortest day of the year, it gets dark real early. I don't mind it. Vikki doesn't like it as much, but I think you're affected more by like.
I mean, I don't technically have like seasonal affective disorder, but not having sunshine or good lighting or whatever definitely affects my moods. So anyway, I don't like it being dark that early. I mean, I think we all have this thing. There's a meme that floats around. What time is it? Like midnight? It's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've all seen that. That's what it feels like when we change seasons here. I'm like, I can't.
See, I like the darkness.
No, you're like dark like your soul.
Listen, I love the sunshine here. I love it being sunny and stuff. I did grow up in Oregon, and I didn't really care that much about the rain. It raining a lot, although after a while it would get real old. But I will say one of the things I miss a little bit is like when the seasons would change and you'd have like those super cloudy, overcast, rainy days. It's like that feeling of just wanting to like snuggle in and like read a book or watch something.
Nope. I don't care if it never rains again.
I would much rather. Well, I'm far less tolerant of rain living in Vegas, because here it's like you just want it to be sunny all the time. So when it does rain, it feels like the ultimate betrayal.
It's true.
Of Mother
It's
Nature.
True. So I see all our friends in the chat here, and friends and some new people that I don't recognize all the names. So welcome in, Archie, Biscuit Butt. I see Kara hasn't been in the chat in a long time.
What's up, Kara?
Yeah, so it's been pretty, anyway, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I know. You know, it rain's okay occasionally, but this last year, Vegas got so much rain, and it was just like, oh, come on.
Oh, we've got Angelisa in the chat. They're still on the road. We just got back from an amazing 4-day trip with them and other friends in Colorado.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't enough.
It wasn't long enough. And then they're road tripping back, and I'm like, I'm so jealous. I want to keep going and thrifting, and it wasn't enough. We only had 2 full days. Now, I will say we were exhausted by the end of it. But it was 3 nights, 4 days, but only 2 full days for us.
Oh, you made it home? All right. They did go through.
Oh.
So they just go home this morning. They were going to stay a little longer, so I guess you guys got tired too.
Oh. But it was super, super fun. There were 11 of us in a house, but the house was really big. It looked small on the outside, but then you got in there and it had a whole second floor in the basement, full floor.
I'm never going to not laugh at Aretha Franklin's name. I'm sorry. Every time I freaking love it. That is a great
Well, the picture's pretty amazing, too.
And then the picture, I mean, I can't. It's fantastic. I don't even know who it is, actually, but I love your screen name.
Yeah, for sure. Archie, let me tell you.
If you only knew the stuff that's not going to hit Instagram.
No, what I was going to say is, like, we barely took any photos.
I didn't take any. I think I took 3.
Yeah, seriously, a handful of photos. I did take a little bit of video, and that will come out in our videos this next week. It'll have to be, like, little bits to add on to our hauls. Because honestly, like, I was just in the moment. I think Ryan probably took the most footage.
Ryan's really good about doing reels consistently throughout the day and just doing little snippets of his life and what he's doing. So Ryan's really good at that.
Probably why they have a thriving YouTube channel.
Why they're actually content creators that make money, I don't know.
But it works both ways because I probably would be a little more motivated too if I actually made some money on the videos I make. But
we had a great time.
We had a really fun time.
Really great group of people. All of us are friends. Some knew each other better than others, but when we all get together, I mean, you never know what it's going to be like, right? You can rent a house with 30 people and 15 of them could totally suck. Yeah. Who knows? But we all get along really well, and I really love the fact that everybody's super chill. We have similar styles as far as shopping and hanging out, and like...
Yep. We had a couple of us who were good at the whipping people into action.
Herding cats. Yep. Herding cats, as I was calling it all week.
And Vicky was having a lot of anxiety going into the trip because she's very much like, she wants to feel like there's a plan. She's like worried about like, okay, how are we going to like it all? But at the same time, she's... While that gives her anxiety, she's also not the type of person that's going to get in there and start telling people what to do. And so...
Well, I mean, not some people, just not... a whole group of people.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what to do.
Okay, sorry. She's not the person in a big group of people to start, like, directing people.
No.
Whereas I feel perfectly comfortable being like, all right, we're doing this, we're going here, who's going to be in what car, and kind of keeping track of where people are.
I'm totally cool with being the cruise director, because that has always been my role in my friends as far as social gatherings, but not when I'm trying to police a bunch of adults. So that's...
But everybody... No, listen, it's just, when you have 11 people, it's not about policing, it's just about making sure that communicating and making sure everybody knows where we're going, where we need to be next, kind of time managing. And so I'm good at that. We just
had a great group of people that we enjoy spending time with. The fact that we all do the same thing, but we all source different things. We all learn a little bit from each other. I'm pretty sure we all learned quite a few things from each other just by watching what people pick up and source. Like everybody's like, there's too much competition. Listen, you go with 11 of your friends to the same store at the same time, plus all the other people, and we still all walked out with a lot of stuff. So...
Which,
I don't want to hear that shit.
By the way, guys, so we always talk about how Colorado is like this magical land of thrifting and sourcing. And let me tell you, it's still true. I will say the bins were a little disappointing.
The bins were weak sauce.
Now,
they were.
Even with that said, though, every time Vicky would complain about how the bins were weak sauce, she still would end up finding multiple things that were worth a lot of money. They're just not at the level of those before.
However, both Liz and Kristen in the chat can attest to the fact that, generally speaking, with the amount of time that we spent at the bins this week, I would have had 5 times what I came home with.
Yeah, here's the deal. And I don't know if it's because they just opened a new location, but for whatever reason, all the bins that were coming out, it was like a single layer of stuff. And the problem with that is the second it comes out, it's like whoever's at that bin is getting whatever's valuable. And, you know, with at least the last time I was in Colorado for the bins and the way the bins are here in Vegas, it's a stack. It's a pile of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, for me, with the T-shirt bros, they're going to go in and be like, da-da-da-da-da, and then they run off to the next one. If you're patient, take your time, there's always a chance you're going to find some sweet, sweet vintage at the bottom. There was no at the bottom with the bins this last week. Because it was such a shallow pour they were doing, as I guess I would call it.
Yeah, for sure. But we had, we weren't, the new Colorado bins weren't great. Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah.
It's been slow all week. Okay, well that makes sense then.
Yeah.
So it was a slow week. It doesn't matter. Still came home with I shipped home 165 pounds of vintage. Katie brought home 150 or so herself.
You guys,
which is crazy.
With that being said about the bins, the thrift stores there, we only went to one Goodwill, and even there I found some good stuff. But the ARC thrift stores there, I was killing it. It was way better than it was even last time, which last time I wasn't as focused on the thrift stores themselves. I was doing more private buys and stuff like that. But this time I was finding so much vintage, so many really cool t-shirts, a couple of really amazing jackets. It was nuts how much stuff we were finding. And
we had a great time. And then we had an amazing experience on our last day. For those of you that were at the Boss Reseller Remix or pay attention to our Instagram or anything like that, Maggie, who is Maggie Civic, not Ceviche, as I called her for years, for like a year. Maggie Civic, who is the CEO of marketing for Arc Thrift, the chain in Colorado, which has 34 stores, does all the marketing. She met us to give us all a private behind-the-scenes tour of the Arc Thrift distribution centers. We went to 2 of them in the Denver area. There's more than 2. I think she said they have 4 or 5, but we went to 2 of the distribution centers and got to see basically how the sausage is made.
Well, actually, Party Marty is the one who gave us the tour, as I call him, and the party is trying to get Marty to smile.
We cracked him by the end of the morning.
Yeah, a couple of times. He was a tough nut to crack, but he was awesome, and he's the one who actually showed us. He runs all the warehouses there, and
we cracked him by the end of the morning.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Really
we loved him, but yeah. So the thrift stores were phenomenal, and then the guy that I did the private buy from last year, where we got to go into his garage in his basement, he was awesome, and he organized us our very own private pop up, and he had some of his other t-shirt bros come over, and they brought some of their stuff, and we got to go through his stuff, and I bought a lot from the basement. What are you making a face about?
Danica's comment, sorry.
Oh, Danica's missing one phone, one crock, and one very... How did you miss it? There's no way. We definitely packed up your flour tortilla blanket. Is it somewhere in your car?
It was definitely packed. About the crock and the phone, maybe not. I don't know where that one went. I did see, so Euretha's comment in there. So Katie has never sourced in Utah, I don't believe.
Yes, I have. We went to...
Oh, we did. We went together. We didn't. I've been twice to source Utah, the Ogden area, a little bit into Salt Lake City, but not a ton in Salt Lake City. Is what we did last time. We did like same.
We were very disappointed.
Yeah, I was not a fan
because for one thing,
we did not go to the bins though.
Didn't we go? I thought we did go to the bins. So for one thing, we were very disappointed about Deseret because we have 2 Deseret thrift stores here in Vegas, and generally you do pretty well at them, and even I find more at Deseret than I do at Savers anymore. And so we were all excited, like, oh yeah, it's going to be all these amazing Deseret thrift stores all over Utah. And we were just kind of not super...
To be fair, we haven't gone in, I think the last time we went was like 4 years ago. So it could be different now.
Yeah. We hadn't gone to the bins or anything like that. But overall, the thrift stores, we were very mediocre. And so, I don't know. Yeah, we'd have to check out the bins there. No thrift haul tonight. We're probably going to record our hauls tomorrow and have a couple of videos.
We'll do 2 this week. We're trying to do 2 thrift hauls each week and keep them separate from the Sunday show. But we are doing them. We will do some, and it will definitely have some of our stuff basically from Colorado, and that'll continue for probably a couple weeks. We both got so much stuff.
I just photographed over 100 of my pieces. I ended up with about 170 pieces from Colorado. I just finished photographing over 100 of them, and as I'm going through and doing all the measurements, I'm setting aside all the ones that I think are haul worthy for videos, and then we'll just break up that into like bits of 10. So each video we do 10 each, and that takes up about a half an hour. So yeah.
So I also have all of my boxes that I shipped home arrived yesterday, arrived last night.
And?
So I've already unpacked, and they were undamaged.
They were undamaged, you guys.
So I was able to, I unpacked everything, sorted everything, and my last load of things I needed to wash or treat are in the dryer right now. I have one more box coming from Liz. She's going to ship out to me when she gets around to it, I'm sure, at some point this week. But for the most part, I thrifted and sourced about 170 to 175 pounds of items this week. And I got some really good stuff. I was very selective. I have to say, I was very selective this week, and I paid up a little bit for a few things, and I'll talk about that. I did tag along. Most of us went on this private buy, this pop up at our friend Alex's house. I would say now
he was amazing. We love him,
and I spent about $350 there, and but everything else I spent very little on.
Yeah. He was amazing. I made very clear to, because I set this up specifically for Ryan because I knew that like he's always looking to buy like some of the higher value T-shirts because of all of the whatnot shows he does and stuff like that. And he's having to constantly source for those and search for those to get the kind of stuff can be in his shows. And so I was like, listen, I can vouch for Alex. Like, he's awesome. He always prices super fair. You're going to have a great time, like, negotiating with him. I said, but I don't know any of these other guys, so I don't know how it's going to go. And he bought from most of them. There was one guy where he had picked out this stuff. He had like a whole stack.
He was kind of a dick.
Let me tell my story, man. Let me tell my story. Anyway, so he had this like stack of T-shirts Ryan did that he had set aside. And he always starts out being like, well, how much for these? And the guy was like $5,000. It's like, oh. So then he went through and narrowed it down to like 10 T-shirts, and then he wanted like 2,500. And basically the way he had broken it down, it was like more than retail. Like he wanted even more than retail, and that was like knowing that we're resellers. And listen,
he wanted hundreds more per piece than retail. No room. When
you're a reseller and you're buying from other sellers, generally there's some sort of understanding, like there has to be some room. And listen, if it's not what you want for your item, that's fine. Totally fine. But he was asking for like more than retail. And then he makes this comment. He goes, hey man, I watched your whatnot. You make like $47,000 in 90 minutes. And I was just like, well, he did not say that. He just said, you make $45,000 in 90 minutes. And when I heard him say that, I was like, ooh.
I don't even care if the dude had given him a good price, which he didn't, to be fair. But had he given him a good price, that would have been a big ol' F you, no thanks from me. I'm sorry.
Well, whatever. You are. In the context of what was actually happening in our negotiation, it was very much a like you can afford it kind of thing.
It was a dick move, and he walked away not making.
Yeah, he didn't buy anything from it. He was the one guy he didn't buy anything from. But it was just kind of like
Ryan pays very fair prices.
He does.
So here's the thing. Everybody has, this is the capitalism. We live in the United States of America. Everybody has the same platform and ability to do well as far as a reseller. I'm not going to say everybody has the same resources in the world. That's not reality. I'm not going to say everybody has the same resources, even in this country. We all know that's not true. However, if you want to start and get a YouTube channel and build it up to 200 and something followers, you're welcome and able to do that. You have to put in the time and put in the work. If you want to build up a huge following on Whatnot and sell items for higher than average prices, you have to put in the work to build that following and that reputation. Right. Ryan has done that. Ryan and Ali.
It's a lot of work.
He has done the work. He's put in the work. He deserves to make the money he makes. It's not like he's buying the shit at the bins for $1.
Well, the thing is, if he's doing a show, so again, yes, like you're saying, you have to build up your audience. Then he had to go to Whatnot and build up the audience there. If he does, let's say $45,000 in 90 minutes, I can guarantee you that he hasn't told me what the amounts are, but I can guarantee you he's probably spent like $35,000 just on the product.
He has told me sometimes.
Okay, but I'm saying I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the amounts are, but let's say he spent $35,000 on the items, and then he's got to put in all the time to curate it, put it together, and even just seeking it out. Because let me tell you, he doesn't always get to go to like a private pop up and just buy a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. He's got to be constantly building relationships. And then he's got to put in the time and actually do it. It's like, okay, so what does he come away after that 90 minutes? Maybe a few $1,000s. Mm-hmm. He's not making $47,000 in 90 minutes. Anyway, it was a douche move is all I got to say.
It was rude, and it just, the guy walked away with all of his inventory. He schlepped over there now, didn't he?
Yeah. So, whatever. It is what it is. Overall, everybody was super nice all week. Obviously there were people that would see us and they would recognize Ryan and Allie and talk to them.
Not so much us. None of us. Nobody knew.
I said us as a group, and they would recognize Ryan and Allie and go talk to them. So it was really fun. But we had a fantastic time. I think everybody got amazing stuff. And like Vicky was saying, we were trading stuff on and off because like I'd find something that like I knew was valuable, but it wasn't really something I cared about. So I'd hand it off to, like Angelisa, but then they'd find amazing stuff and give it to me. It was awesome.
That wasn't the stinky guy.
I think stinky guy's a different guy.
It was another guy that just needed a bath or
Anyway, it is what it is.
Both.
We'll stop saying mean things about Alex's friends. But he's awesome, and we really appreciated everything he did for us. So, fantastic time, and just, keep an eye out for those videos that are going to come out this week. Definitely make sure, obviously, you're probably all following Rally Roots, but they will definitely be putting out a video or two of our adventures.
I'm
Because
sure
I know he took a lot of footage.
He took a lot of footage. I know he definitely did some stuff from the private buy and then our adventures in general.
And thrifting and everything. So we had a great time. Anyway, this is our Sunday show. That was a big intro, but we had a lot of stuff
Big
that
long
happened.
intro.
We had a lot of stuff going down this last week, okay? And then we'll get more into like the whole goals thing and everything, and like our title, recharge, pivot. Well, that was the recharge part. It was very fun hanging out with.
It was.
all
I'm
of our
going to say
friends.
for me, the last few weeks has been a bit of a drudge. Not having someone working for me, having to photograph and list clothing. I know I sound like a whiny bitch, and I am both of those things. But it has been very disheartening for me. So I have not had a great time with my job lately. So I've been really, stressing about it. This was a great recharge and a reset to hang out with people that are very, impressive as far as they're also full-time sellers, most of them, and motivated and knowledgeable and all of that stuff. But also I did hire someone yesterday. That took everything home and it started already for me. So that makes me feel better. So I am actually coming back, recharged and in a really good, mindset, ready to tackle everything this week, where I was just dragging. I mean, we've all had it. We've all had reseller burnout, right? It happens, especially when sales are not going great, or sales are not anywhere near where you think they should be, or you're putting in a lot of work, but you're not seeing a lot of results for your efforts. It happens. This business is cyclical. So I was definitely feeling that burnout, and now I'm feeling great.
But hanging out with everybody, we were doing some commiserating and talking about some of the stuff that's been stressful, but there was also a lot of really, really positive, productive conversations.
Problem solving.
Where we were talking about, literally just sitting around talking about different ways to do this, different ways to do that, and kind of coming up with different ideas. And it was
strategizing,
it was really
problem
cool.
Solving. The strategizing is really beneficial. Like we've said this before, we'll say it again. Attend reseller conferences, attend reseller events, come see the Boss Reseller Remix, but also go to local meetups. Find your reseller buddies that live in your area. Have an accountability partner. Join Facebook groups. The in-person stuff cannot be discounted.
Every single person that we were on this trip with, every single one of us know each other because of reselling.
Every single one of us knows each other because of eBay Open or the Boss Reseller Remix.
Yeah, some sort of in-person event, and that's how we found each other. And now
specifically
we have
those two.
Yep. Okay, so this is our Sunday show. We break it into 3 parts.
Nate,
we look at our real numbers for the last week, our gross numbers across all of our platforms, our fees, our shipping, our cost of goods, which of course, in my opinion, is the most important part when you're looking at the whole equation. Middle part, we look at our sales highlights for the last week, some really good sales, interesting sales, maybe educational sales. And then the last part, we will get back into kind of this talk about goals, pivoting, figuring out what the heck are we doing next, and kind of looking at did we accomplish anything this last week? Probably not.
Mimi, it is so nice to see you in the chat. You were definitely a highlight for me at the Boss Reseller Remix this year.
Mimi!
If you don't follow her, I don't know if you even have social media other than Instagram, Mimi, but you are a flippin' riot.
Yeah, you're awesome.
I loved hanging out with you. You were so fun and energetic and friendly, and I'm so glad we got to meet you, and I hope to see you again for sure. I just wanted to put that out there. You were a lot of fun.
We think you're awesome, Mimi. Okay, so let's go and jump into looking at our numbers. Mine are still pretty weak, but you know what? They're actually a little better than they were last week, so all right. Obviously, we were away this last week. We are going to be talking about some changes that we're going to be making to how we list and do all those things and deal with being away. But this last week, I didn't list anything the whole time I was gone. I didn't do
Me either.
any of those things I pretended like I was going to do, ending. Am I gonna make soda come out of your nose?
I was pretending I was gonna do
ending listing. Listen, once I'm there, I'm I don't care about anything else that's going on in the world. I could barely be bothered to respond to offers, which is terrible.
We were in the moment.
We were in the moment, man. All kinds of great things happened that I didn't capture on video. Jeez. Anyway. So this is this
Can you
last
imagine
week.
the bribery we would have had if we'd captured all this stuff on
Oh yeah, there were probably multiple career ruining events that happened that were not captured on video. All right, 11 eBay orders, 6 Etsy orders, 2 Poshmark orders, 3 between Grail, Mercari, and Depop, nothing private. Total
That's
of 22.
terrible.
I know it is terrible. Thanks a lot. I don't appreciate your non-supportive nature. Anyway, so eBay gross sales, I did crack $1,000, so that's nice. $1,025.69. Etsy $337.35. Poshmark $210, and Grail, Mercari, Depop $264. My total gross sales $1,837.04. Shipping $75 is actually a little higher than that, probably more like $100. You can see the breakdown of fees, $60 cost of goods, so that's nice. Total net sales $1,474.80. My gross average sale price is really good there, $83.50. My very few sales, I had some good high ones, and my net, look, my net's over $60. That's pretty sweet. So not bad. I don't know. I'm actually feeling energized though, because I have so much good stuff. And I'm excited. I already started listing some of it, so I'm like, whatever.
She is on it, guys.
I'm not looking back anymore. I'm looking forward, onward, and upward, and I'm really excited. And I'm planning my next trip to go stay with Liz. I'm going to hit those Colorado Springs arcs, every single one of them. Let's do it.
I don't even know when the heck we're going to have time to go again anywhere.
I'm going next week.
No, you're not.
You don't know. All right, what do you got?
This was not a fantastic week, but considering I haven't listed anything since except for like yesterday, I haven't listed anything in a week. Not too bad. 38 on eBay, 9 on Etsy, 8 on Poshmark, 7 on Mercari for a total of 62 orders. 23.70 on eBay. That is not what next week is going to look like unless these sales start cranking. But $23.70 on eBay, $3.38 on Etsy. My Etsy definitely dropped because I hadn't listed anything new in over a week. $2.97 on Poshmark. I don't know where Poshmark went, but it fell off the radar for me about 5 weeks ago.
Poshmark, can you hear me?
Seriously. $3.40 on Mercari, which is decent for Mercari. Every time I think I'm going to get rid of Mercari, I think I'm going to end up with like 10,000 in gross sales there this year. So it's worth hanging on to, I guess. So $33.45 and 11 cents for my total gross sales. Shipping $3.48. And then you see the breakdown of all the different fees there. My cost of goods is always low at $155. Most of my items are bins purchases, and even the heavier ones are worth it. So my net sales, $24.23 and change. I like to be around $2,500 to $3,000 for my net sales for the week, so that's actually right just about in line where it should be. Just under $54 for my gross average sale price. I like to be between $50 and $60, so that's also good. And then my net average sale price is just over $39. So not a bad week.
Not too shabby. All right, let's just jump right into our sales highlights. You starting the first one. Hey, didn't you just get that?
Yeah, so it's not like this is a huge moneymaker or anything, but I actually just got these a few weeks ago at our bins. It was the video, if any of you watched, when we went back to go and find the artwork that Katy neglected to buy.
Sorry.
And then it was not there, but I actually just picked up these 2 shirts. There were 2 identical,
you sold both of them?
vintage. I sold them both, one for $55 and one for $70.
Nice.
And I paid like $1 a piece for them, and they sold right away. So they were exactly the same. I just wanted to show that not everything has to be, a home run, but they sold very quickly.
That's a pretty good home run. You made over $120.
$120. And very quickly, so not too bad at all.
And you wouldn't even have that.
I just thought they were cool.
If I hadn't messed up with that picture, you wouldn't even have these. Yeah. So you're freaking welcome.
So yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yep, there you go. All right, first one up for me. So if you guys remember when the remix, Jen Goodell had brought me a whole suitcase of stuff. I got like 50 items for $250. It was an average price of $5. And, there was some like mids in there, some stuff that I was like, that's all right, mediocre. But there was a lot of like stuff that I really loved. This is probably one of the ones that I was like, meh, whatever, it's okay. But it's like, it was all about the buy as a whole. And guess what? It was the first freaking one that sold. And when I, was looking it up and trying to get comps and stuff like that, they weren't that great for this t-shirt. This is an actual brand, as you can see, the tag. The comps weren't great. I was just like, whatever, I'm listing it, blah, blah, blah. And then it sold first for $48.99. So, guys, it's like, I feel like it happens all the time. Something I'm just kind of like meh about. It sells faster than I expect it to. And I just have to remember, like, hey, maybe I don't know everything, You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Maybe, yeah.
Ryan hasn't taught you everything you know?
How dare you? All right, you're up next. What do you got?
So I've had these for a while. These are wee pants. I actually got these from Casey Rockstar Flipper Paris, when we were in Florida last year. So I've had these for a year and a half. I got these last April. Again, a lot of vintage tends to sit. It sits for a while. And these weren't anything specifically flashy, but they were, Givenchy. Givenchy. So I probably paid $2 for them. This is not something he would have ever listed. He had a whole storage unit of crap that he didn't want to list that I ended up buying from him, and he barely took any money for it because that's Casey. But anyway, so I paid maybe $2 or $3. They sat for a while, but they sold for the price you see there, $93 and change. They're basically polyester pull-on pants. They're from the 80s. Late 70s, early 80s.
Terrible.
They're really ugly, but hey, they're still designer.
I don't know who's wearing these.
I don't know. I would laugh at them if I saw them in them now, to be honest.
All right, next up. So I'm only showing this. I sold this for $50. I'm only showing this because I was literally just saying to Ryan the other day when we were at one of the thrift stores, because there was like a Harley t-shirt. I'm like, I'm so over Harley t-shirts, because with the whole vintage t-shirt craze, one of the things that's like kind of up there is Harley. It's like band t-shirts, Harley t-shirts, and I'm like, I'm just so over them. They don't excite me at all. I don't even bother with them unless it's like a really cool graphic, or it's like from the 80s, or 3D emblem, all that stuff. I'm just kind of like, man, they don't excite me.
Lauren Hutton, you're right there. I could totally picture her with the long, lanky legs, skinny body, wearing those pants. Sorry,
yeah.
I got the visual.
And so of course, right after I say that, I sell this for $50. But it's like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't spark the love in my heart that it used to. Not that it really ever did, but I used to be more into finding Harley Davidson stuff, and I'm just over it. But you know what? You can't be over it when you can pull in $50 a pop for
a bins buy.
A pretty average shirt. I think I actually got this from yesterday's Fits when they had their $5 sale. But still, $5 into $50 is pretty flipping great. So
I was going to say, you didn't get it in Colorado either.
No, I did not. All right, next up.
All
See,
right.
Was I right or was I right? Am I bringing it back or not, guys?
I think
I'm not kidding around.
Katie may single-handedly be bringing back Echo Unlimited. I don't know why. I've had this listed for like 6 months. I did a bunch of ending and relisting and tweaking titles, prices, and pictures over this weekend. And this was one of those items, and I just relisted it yesterday, and I took an offer. It doesn't show this, but I took an offer, and I sold it for $85. This was a bins buy. Who the frig is paying up for this crap that we could not get rid of? I would not have taken this for free 5 months ago. I
mean, listen, to be fair, like because I saw a lot of Echo Unlimited while we were in Colorado, but it wasn't in very good condition.
This is one of the big, heavy, thick, it's like a Champion sweatshirt.
And that's kind of like what my zip-up hoodie was like, too. I think the vest that I showed last year with my clickbait title, which, honestly, guys, I felt some guilt over afterwards, because I'm like, okay, I shouldn't be telling people that Echo Unlimited is a grail, because it's really not. However, some of it we're selling for really good prices. Like, I sold my zip-up hoodie for $150. You sold this. I sold another hoodie for like $50.
What do we tell people about South Pole jeans?
Well, South Pole jeans, no. Now that's totally different from Echo Unlimited, because if you look at Echo Unlimited,
it's the same era.
But listen to me for a second. If you look at the sell through and like the pricing and all stuff at Echo Unlimited, overall it's still selling for pretty freaking cheap. It's just we've been able to do really well with some of these pieces. If you look at South Pole jeans, there is probably like 500 listed and like 800 sold in the last 90 days. The sell-through rate is crazy. It's selling for high prices. So 100%, I will say, get out there and look for some South Pole. Way more than Echo Unlimited. I found one pair of South Pole jeans this week, but they were terrible and they weren't worth picking up. But overall, South Pole jeans, seriously.
Now
that's
bottom.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Boots with
but yeah, it's just crazy. But if you find a Echo Unlimited hoodie that's in really nice condition, seriously, price that shit up. It's doing well.
I still don't get it.
Yeah, definitely not a grail, but you can make some really good money with it. All right, next up, Pendleton. What? Vikki was like, I didn't even know you had Pendleton, and it took me a while to figure out where I'd stash this, because I don't have like a lot of robes, so I don't really.
I buy a lot of robes.
I don't have a specific place. No, but this is from when we went to, this summer when we went to yesterday's Fits, and they had a bunch of stuff. Jesse had a bunch of stuff that he priced down to like $10 a piece. So I paid $10 for this, and it just sold for the price you see there, $139.99, and it actually went to, where did it go? It went to Australia, I think. And the only thing is that it was missing a button. You can see button missing on one cuff. But this is just an awesome vintage.
It's a good one.
Pendleton robe.
Big, good, wide shawl collar.
Yeah, you can see you can see right here. So I put in there that it was like 50s or 60s. When you see the Pendleton label, it looks pretty much like this, but it has that wool mark thing on it. That didn't start until the 60s. So if you see a tag like this,
late 60s, it's like 68.
Sure.
Up. So
what I'm saying is it didn't happen until the 60s. So when you see that there isn't one, then it's probably going to be 50s, possibly early 60s. So just a little tidbit for you. But $140 plus shipping to Australia. Ooh.
This was a bins purchase in Colorado about 7 or 8 weeks ago, the last time I went to Colorado. So 49 cents a pound. This is vintage beater lac, made in the USA. And it's sold for the price that you see there, plus shipping. I probably paid $3 for it, if that. $2 to $3 for it. And then, of course, the cost to ship it home on average was about $1 an item. So I probably have $4 in it.
Nice. Tommy says, Carpenter pants must be hit right now. Portland School District is on strike, so all the bros were at the bins this week. Every single one was wearing Carpenter jeans. Yep. That's the one, as much as I am annoyed when the high school kids are at the bins, that's the one nice thing about it is that you can check out what they're wearing. And see like what it is. What are the Ute like these days?
What are the Utes wearing?
Yep. All right. Next up for me, Paul Smith. So I don't pick up a lot of blazers, but I know quality when I see it. No, I know Paul Smith is generally like kind of a little bit of a higher end brand. Now the resale value isn't quite there. Like this was probably what, like $500, $600, $700 blazer new.
More than that, probably.
Or even more than that. Like Paul Smith is a pretty high end, like as far as cost goes when you're buying retail. It was
probably closer to like $1,500.
Yeah, when you're buying retail, so it definitely does not hold its value to that extent, but it does very well. So I sold it for $140, and I thought this one was really cool. I like the kind of lining in it and stuff.
Mm-hmm, that's a nice one.
Yep. It's got that, what's it called when they have that funny like double pocket thing going on? Is there a word for that?
I don't know.
Anyway, so when I saw this at the bins, I'm like, well, this is definitely worth picking up for like the $4 it's going to cost to buy. It's like maybe 2 pounds. It wasn't a super heavy blazer. And I sold it for $140. I took an offer for $140 and it went to Austria. So now I've got Austria. I'm just working my way through the alphabet. No big deal.
Africa next, I guess. I don't know.
No, that's not how the alphabet works.
Before. I was just going with the A's. Anyway, so as far as the international shipping question, Katie still does all of hers on her own. I do all of mine on my own on every platform. Well, I should just say Etsy's the only other one that allows international shipping. So on Etsy, I do my own. eBay, I did opt into EIS. Yes. I am selling just as much. I'm just not making the extra bump in shipping that I used to. So it's not bothering me, but I do sell items that are heavier than Katie does for the most part. So it makes sense for me to keep my prices competitive. When I was selling it on my own, I was not, you just use calculated international shipping and it's rack rate. And then if you use EIS, eBay is giving the discounted rate to the buyer. So if someone is looking at something similar, my shipping cost would have been way off if I wasn't using EIS.
Yeah. And I pretty much
I switched a few months ago, Tommy. It hasn't really affected me. I'm still selling a handful of items every week international. So I will say my international sales percentage is higher on Etsy, but it always has been.
Yeah, and for me, it just doesn't make much of a difference because almost everything I sell is under 2 pounds. And so I just put everything as 9 ounces, which is the same international price up to 2 pounds. And I don't feel like because mine is $5 more shipping than somebody else, that's going to make that much of a difference when my prices are quite a bit higher anyway. So it is what it is. I'm like, I'd rather do it myself. Like, leave me alone, eBay. You can't make me do nothing.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. All right, what's this?
This is just one of those brands. I'm always going to bring this up. I have before. This is just not a white fisherman sweater. But this is an Irish-made Aaron Crafts hand, these beautiful knit. This one's like a sweater jacket because it has a hood. This was actually a bins purchase as well, but it's heavy. So I probably paid about $5 or $6 for it, and it sold for $85. I did have a buyer send an offer. It sold for $85.
Very nice.
It's really nice quality. It actually felt like it had never been used. Mm-hmm. And it's not a vintage one. Aaron Crafts does have vintage, but it also has current, and their tags haven't changed a heck of a lot. But this was modern.
All right. This bingo. Actually, this is what went to Austria. What was I talking about before?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But Pendleton, I think, is what went. It went somewhere. It went to Australia or whatever. Anyway, this went to Austria. $44.09. So it's not anything that exciting, but I picked this up at the bins, and I just kind of thought to myself, I was like, whenever I see bingo stuff, I buy it just because our friend Shelly loves bingo, and so for some reason it makes me think it's cool to pick up. Probably because I think Shelly's cool.
That must be it.
But anyway, I got this at the bin, so I paid maybe $1.50 for it or something like that. But it was funny because it actually went to Austria. So once they got done paying shipping, and they, you get to see how much they paid for taxes and whatever and all that stuff. They paid I think over $80 for this.
For a freaking
bingo
boring ass bingo.
It's not boring. Look at that. It's very nicely embroidered. Very fancy.
It's very fancy bingo
very
sweatshirt.
Fancy bingo sweatshirt.
Somebody's grandma in Austria is going to be rocking that shit. So Allison is talking about this movie Naiad that is out on Netflix. And
it's really good.
I had to message her yesterday because I swear to God that older Jodie Foster now is coming into her own. She's the character she was playing in that movie. She looks just like Allison, and Allison looks just like her now. I don't know. Both skinny, both with the same type of hair. Some of the mannerisms are the same. You're both very tan.
Yeah, I get some dark rimmed glasses.
I mean, you look just like her in that movie, or she looks just like you.
The movie's really good.
It was a good movie.
It's all about Diane and Naiad, and it's a really. I thought it was very excellent. But anyway, okay. Next up for you, what you got? Ooh.
This was a bins buy. I did find this at the bins, paid about $2. This has been listed for, I don't even know, a few months now anyway.
Not too long, judging by the mannequin.
It was not too long because it was my previous person that was working for me. So it's probably been listed about 3 months. Lots of interest. Lots of watchers. And it finally sold for the price you see there. The sale price of $116.96. Everything that is like equestrian is just like super hot, and it's hot again. And I don't know that it ever has actually not been hot, but especially this brand Miller's and Miller. Go on to the tag, please. That brand Miller's, and then there's also an earlier tag from the 70s that just says like Miller, and it's almost like a rainbow tag. Same brand, very popular, great graphics on their sweaters. Always pick them up.
I mean, horsey people are weirdos. They like their horses on their clothing, right?
I mean, I guess.
You're never going to be able to extinguish that flame. All right, next up, I have this IBM 5K t-shirt. You guys know how I love anything vintage tech, and I actually really like race t-shirts, like from the 80s and 90s. So this is like this brings together two things that I love, and it's even embroidered on the front. I actually got this on Whatnot. I probably paid I feel like I paid like $7 for it,
if that,
$5-7 for it. And but I sold it, and it's funny because one of the things I found, you'll see it in one of our haul videos, is this really awesome 1978 HP Hewlett Packard running t-shirt from a race. So I thought it was funny that I also sold one this week. That's IBM, but anyway.
You know what? That's a good question, actually, Michelle. I don't know. I actually don't know if it's Miller's Outpost is that brand for Miller's. I don't know if there's any correlation. Could be. I don't know what a Miller's Outpost is, but we didn't have them in the Northeast, so
I don't know.
I don't really know.
I don't know.
It could be a brand from. I have no idea.
Yep. Oh yeah, horse people like playing bingo are the worst, Allison. Anyway, I sold this for $62.99. I did have this for quite a while, but it probably would have done better if the graphic was on the front, in my opinion. But $62.99, paid maybe $7 for it. So not too shabby, but I found a lot of really cool vintage tech t-shirts in Colorado, like really cool ones that I'm super excited to share. Way cooler than this one. So stay tuned, guys. All right, what do you got?
Okay, so this robe was a bins purchase as well. And this, I've probably had this for like 5 months or so. This is a super heavy wool robe. There was no belt. If you go to the tag, I don't know the brand, couldn't find the brand. Based on the tag and the design and the stitching, 50s, 60s, somewhere in that neighborhood. This thing is heavy. It's wool. I don't know if it was 100% wool, but it certainly felt like it. But it's much thicker than a Pendleton.
This photo's inappropriate. Your half manny's inappropriate.
What? He doesn't have anything
He's
below
flashing
the
it.
belt.
I know.
He's flashing.
We are well aware. We are well aware. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, so he is, anyway, it was just a cool robe. I picked up the bins, very heavy, paid probably $6, $7 based on the weight, but it sold, I took an offer for $85 on this. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say about it? Vintage quality items made out of wool are almost always worth picking up.
Absolutely.
Oh, Miller's became Anchor Blue, which is now
interesting.
which is also selling a lot now. So there we go.
Which I also personally brought back into favor.
Yes, all you.
All right. Next up for me is this Peace Love t-shirt. This is another one that went to like the UK, I think. And I just like the cool graphic. This is the front of it. It's got some
The front looks boring. That looks like a sublime symbol of some sort.
I think it still looks cool. And then the back, it just has the little peace love symbol, and it says, understand, man. I added the man in case you were wondering.
I feel like peace, love, understand is like a really snarky version of saying peace and love.
I think it's more like the dude. Like, he's like, understand?
Yeah, I sense attitude.
Whatever.
Just saying.
All right. I guess that's your problem. That's a you problem.
It is.
Anyway, 90s shirt. I had sent out multiple offers for this.
But look at how yellow and gross it is.
No, that's because it's tie-dye.
Oh.
It's not like yellowed.
I thought that one picture looked like, what the hell? It looks like somebody washed it in urine.
That's just showing the single stitch. Nope, I peed on it. That's all. It's a special service I provide. But $62.99. I think this
you could charge extra for that.
I did. I got $62.99 for it. I probably paid maybe, what I have written down here, maybe like $5, but $62.99. I think this one went to the UK, so this was another international. Which Etsy, I get a lot of international purchases, buyers from there. But yeah, I've had this one probably a little longer than I wanted to, but I sent out lots of really low offers on eBay, maybe like $40, but sold it for $62.99.
I think Kara's reading it the way I was. Peace, love, and bless your heart. Exactly. Thank you very much. That is exactly what I was thinking.
There you go.
All right. So this was a purchase that I made in Colorado, again, about 7 weeks ago, my last trip there. I got these at the bins. It was a set of 3, not 4. Shipped them home from Colorado. They did cost me about $14 to ship this box home. They're not in great condition. You can tell by the photos. There's some cracking. There are these kind of like fiberglass type trays. But I still sold them. I finally got them listed, and they sold in like a week. Unfortunately, they bumped into my sale price. I think I could have gotten more for them if they were in better shape or if I had 4. But I was perfectly happy to sell them at the $140 price point. Plus, I did charge for shipping, $29.95. They did cost about $23 or $24 because they went to They went to Arizona. But from Colorado to Vegas to Arizona, who knows where they started. Anyway, it was still a good profit. They weren't in fantastic shape, but
I love all the TNC surf stuff from the 80s. I love it. It makes me very happy. All right. Next up for me is this Drizzabone.
What the hell's Drizzabone?
How dare you say it like that? It's a brand, Drizzabone. So the great Australian sweater, Drizzabone. Jeez.
All right.
It's just another fisherman sweater. This is like the Australian version. I think I actually got this from yesterday's fits as well. Only paid $10 for it. But I'm always going to pick up. I mean, one of these types of sweaters for $10 is like a no-brainer in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can be slow moving, but it seems like they've been selling a lot faster now that we're hitting the cold season. That's not the price I got for it. They made an offer for $64, and I was like, what? You want to give me $64? Okay. And they actually paid, so that was nice. But yeah, so I paid like $10 and sold it for $64. What are you doing? What are you looking up over there?
I'm actually going to try and find a message.
Yes.
From my customer to show the next thing that we have there.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Jeez. You're really throwing a wrench into our flow, man.
Okay, got it. So I picked this up at the bins. I have had this listed for about 4 months. I paid probably between $10 and $15 for it based on the weight. It's quite heavy. It weighed like 9 pounds or so. And I accepted an offer for $375 on this. But what I loved about it is the communication with my buyer. The buyer was fantastic. So he lives in Reno, Nevada. So I charged a lot to ship it because it weighs so much, and there's no way this is going in a poly mailer, right?
Right.
But it probably only cost me $10 to ship it. So because it was same state, just far away. However, he does cosplay as Clint Eastwood. So he bought this to wear it as Clint Eastwood. He's going to oil it and everything because it's this big, thick, heavy, great leather. But I got to show this picture of him.
Well, you got to keep it.
That's what he looks like. He doesn't have it on in that, but come on now.
Wait, hold on. Let me switch this over to
just so we can see it. Hold on.
So we can get to focus here. I don't know. It's not very.
It's close enough.
It's close enough, but it really. There you go. There we go. You see, he's got the whole get up. There we go. I think he's got the look right. He's got the look right.
He does. Really, did I talk about it last week? I didn't think I had. I hope maybe I did show it last Sunday. I didn't think I had.
Yeah, she's pretty horrible like that.
Sorry, Tommy.
And Tommy's kind of an asshole.
Or maybe you might have seen me post it. I posted it in the
possible.
group. I think that's what it is. I posted it either on my page or in the group. Maybe that's what you saw. But anyway, it's just such a cool thing. And I love the fact that I love when you get messages or pictures or something like that and someone decides to share that part of their life with you, why they're buying it and what they're doing with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that is a perfect Clint Eastwood jacket, right? Like I don't know what the heck, but it made my day exactly. It's pretty cool. So great ROI. It is big and bulky. I would not have picked it up if I didn't think I could sell it. Now there's no brand because it didn't have the liner. It was missing the heavy Sherpa liner was probably what it had in it. But yeah, I did. I just knew it was quality just by the construction.
There you go. All right, next up, I had a couple of things that sold on. I had a few good sales on the old Poshmark. And this is a hoodie that I got at the bins. And it's just a Michigan Wolverines hoodie, but it's got like that nice, what do they call it? Not the embroidery. It's basically embroidery.
It's whatever. Like the loop stuff that's on like Letterman jackets.
And this is that J America brand, which is not like a particularly desirable brand or anything like that, but it was a really nice heavy hoodie. And so I had priced it up. I think I priced it like $70 and they offered $60 and I was like, heck yeah, I'll sell that for $60. Plus I get a label sent to me. I'll take it. But I don't know. Michigan Wolverines, it's one of the teams I really like finding their stuff because it seems to sell really well. So
I don't think it's one of those, you never know because some sports teams, there's just so much on the market. It's not worth getting a lot of times, but other teams, especially if it's decent, they're not super prolific with their merch. So that makes it better.
Yeah. But I always sell my Michigan Wolverine stuff. So I will always happily pick it up. All right. What do you got?
These aren't anything special. I just wanted to show that even though these are a smaller size, they're a size 6. Pick them up at the bins. They're Durango brand. They're made to look weathered and broken in. If you can see by the heels that they're not in terrible condition. They're actually in decent shape. But they're not even vintage. And they sold for $76.
Nice. What do they sell for new?
Plus shipping. Durango boots are not super expensive. Maybe a little over $100 brand new. They're like Acme. They're not like very high end. But I just thought that they were good looking boots. And, this was when Crystal was still working for me, so the pictures look fantastic.
Thanks, Crystal. Aren't you special?
She's special.
I know. All right, last one for me is this Descente, whatever, ski jacket. This is one of my favorite brands to find in jackets and some t-shirts too, but it's just such a really cool 80s ski wear brand. They did a lot of like the professional and like competition skiing teams and stuff like that, and like the Olympics, and so it's just a really cool brand. And I think their logo looks neat, and this jacket is awesome. And guys, I got this jacket at the bins. What? I got it at the bins. So it probably cost me, not a super heavy jacket either. So it probably only cost me like about $4. I think it was just barely 2 pounds or over 2 pounds. But I sold it on Poshmark for 150 bones. What's up with that?
Poshmark coming through sometimes.
I know,
Aren't
right?
you glad to be a posh twat?
I am like the biggest posh twat of all out there, okay? I'm Sean Connery and I embrace my twattiness.
Terrible accent.
Anyway, I love it. Twat me up. Let's go. All right, I'm going to take us out of there. Look at that. We made some pretty good time. We even got some time left over. We'll still go over a little bit, but anyway, guys, those are our sales highlights of the week. Like I said, I came home with 170 pieces from Colorado. I've already processed and photographed over 100 of them. I have a big stack of like the white ones that need to be bleached.
Mind you, we came home Thursday night, guys. Did all of this yesterday and today.
Well, my stuff didn't have to be shipped. I put all of my stuff in our checked bags. We filled up we had probably 150 pounds of stuff that came home on the airplane with us, and we went ahead and she let me put all my stuff in there because she already had a bunch of stuff at home, so it wasn't like she couldn't list until she had her stuff. But really it ended up coming today anyway, or yesterday.
Came last night.
Came last night. So but yeah, so I photographed over 100. It's easy to get stuff done when you're excited about what you're processing and photographing. And so, but I have like a bunch of whites that have been treated that have stains and stuff like that need to be bleached. So that'll be my next, after I'm done with all this stuff. But like I said, as I've photographed and measured them, I'm setting aside all the stuff that I want to put into hauls. And so it's just going to be, I'm putting it into like 10 item chunks. And then, so we should have videos for the next few weeks. Cause I'm serious. Like it was crazy how much it's been so long since I've been in a thrift store where I'm like filling up a basket. And there was like multiple times we were in a thrift store and Vicky came over to wherever I was and was like, holy crap, that's all yours?
Yeah, and I have like 3 things.
Yep.
So
you found so
Joe
much
and Nicole.
too.
I did really well this time. I was very selective, like I said.
You were pushing this hard.
I was very selective on this trip. I was pushing, but I didn't feel like there was I mean, I do so well buying items at the bins that I have a hard time paying $10 for something when I know I can get, 5 items for $10 and get the same ROI. Yeah. Even if it's a nice piece.
And I feel like we didn't get to hit the thrifts as hard because it is harder when you have as many people as we had. So I know next time we go, and we only did Denver, whereas I think the ARC stores in Colorado Springs are better. So I think next time we go.
But she's about 90 minutes. Colorado Springs is about 90 minutes.
So I think the next time we go, when it's just the two of us, which will probably happen within the next couple of months, I think we should just go to Colorado Springs and just hit those bins. Well, they have bins there too, right? So you can go to those bins, and I want to hit those thrift stores hard, whether that means renting our own car so you guys can be at the bins and I can just be throwing thrift, because I'm like, forget the bins. I want to, if the thrift stores have the stuff, I want to hit it. I want to hit it.
So we're already planning our next spring trip for the group of us, but it's not going to be in Colorado.
We're going to go to Texas. Yeehaw!
We haven't decided exactly the route yet, but we'll let you know.
Yeah.
So Danica says, but did y'all get a 5-foot rose or a talking Elvis head? Hopefully talking Elvis head. You need to be following Danica, Lady Luck Junk on Instagram, by the way, because her shenanigans are hilarious. And I guarantee that Elvis is going to make and has made a few appearances on her channel, but on her Instagram. But I'm sure Elvis will appear in other things as well. So
Liz, yeah, we can take a day trip up to Denver. I'll drop you guys off of the bins, and then I'll go hit all the arcs around while you guys bins it up. How about that now?
We may do that.
Because I want to hit those hard and not have to be talking to anybody and being social and just go. That's what I want to do.
All right, so we're going to talk about our goals and setting some goals and plans. We talked about it a little bit earlier. We definitely didn't do shit this week because we weren't here.
Well, part of our goal was thrifting. So you talked about, did you get some good blankets? And
I did. I got a few. And then I did. This was not a bad trip for me by any means. It was fantastic. But I still had a ton to process from my trip 7 weeks ago. So it's whatever. If this were a trip that I was specifically going to just source, I would have felt that it was weak for me. But that was not my main goal. And I knew that going in. Yeah. So it's totally fine with that. So I had... I definitely want to So I just hired somebody new. Quick training session yesterday. She is someone that has been selling on eBay for like 20 years. So I didn't have to train her on too much, just a touch up and some training on how I want things done, really. So that'll be once a week. I need to produce, 50 to 80 pieces ready for her to photograph once a week. And right now I've got at least a couple of weeks in the house, plus sent her home with 75 yesterday. So that gives me some time. So I'm going to get to sourcing again probably by next week. But it'll take a while to get all the stuff listed. So my plan is, like I said, I think I mentioned last Sunday, I did join a Patreon group. I'm not somebody that ever does that or has done that. I've never paid for a course of any kind, but I haven't even scratched the surface on what this group is offering yet. I'm really just lurking so far, but it is for me to hold myself accountable. So my plan is to definitely get into, being more consistent. So that is always been my downfall, especially with the amount of traveling we do and the amount of time that creating the Boss Reseller Remix takes for both of us. The last year and a half has been very difficult with consistency. So for me, having some accountability and consistency is where I want to be. My goal is to list 30 items 5 days a week. 20 items will go live, 10 will go in my draft bank. And I'm going to create a draft bank. I've never had a draft bank. So my goal is to do that Monday through Friday. And then I will take Saturday and Sunday and launch 20 new items. If I'm home working, I will list as well, new items. But if not, I'll take from that draft bank every weekend. My plan is to make sure that I have 20 live listings going up every day of the week and then 50 in the draft bank every week. That is my plan. I'm going to try to make that happen. If I can do more, then I will do more. That means that I need to do 50 and my lister needs to do, I need to do 75. My lister does 75. I need to do 150 total is what it's looking like. I don't know if that's going to be achievable for me to source that much product as well, finding enough to source that much product. And I'm also going to be more conscious of taking more offers. I'm already pretty aggressive with my sales prices as well as my sending offer prices, but I am going to be a little bit better at taking better offers and just as has been said in this group many times, taking some of the money all of the time versus all of the money some of the time. Yeah. I source very well and I pay very little for the items that I source, and I need to be less precious by holding on, waiting for more money. And that's always been my strategy, is to list it and forget it and sell, fewer items, packing fewer items. But it's getting to the point where I just want to move and turn over inventory more. So that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, so please put in the chat, or if you're watching this after the show has already ended, please put in the comments down below. Tell us what your goals are for this week, what you're going to be trying to accomplish. And so for me, as far as this week goes, I want to list probably like a good, let's say 80 items for this next week. I have a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to jump right into some of the stuff that I want to be doing because I know it's going to take a little while for me to change my habits around. I've never done drafts, and Vikki talks about the draft bank. I think what they talk about is basically listing everything to your drafts, and then you make a certain number go live, and then the next day you list to your drafts, and then you make sure that whatever you had left over yesterday, you list that stuff first.
Not necessarily that, but you list from the oldest first is basically, yes. You're making it more complicated than that, but yes.
Whatever.
Oldest first. And yes, that is the group that I joined, Patricia. I do not know tech. I have no knowledge of him. I've never watched any of the content. I've been following on Instagram for years, but that's it. Mm-hmm. I've never watched any of the content. I do not watch YouTubers. I never have. And I probably won't watch a ton of this content, but I am going to try to listen to some of the podcasts. I'm getting nothing for saying this, believe me. I'm just going to say that the proof is in the pudding, the proof is in the numbers, and he's definitely very smart and very knowledgeable in this field. And I'm interested in seeing, he's built his business up. He's had a lot of help along the way, but his methods work, and the methods that he teaches, as well as a lot of the people in his group. He has a whole lot of experts that teach on different topics. Mm-hmm. I probably won't tap into that because I already know what I know about what I'm selling, and that's not going to change. But the products itself. I like my niche, so I don't need to learn more about the products, but I want to learn more about the process, and the accountability and the consistency. That type of thing I want to look more for. He's very focused on sell-through rate, which also doesn't affect what I sell. Sell-through rate is not something because I can't comp my items.
Yeah.
So sell-through rate is not necessarily a thing, but I'm going to do it.
But there is a way for you to be looking at it differently. So like if you're going to be going to 20 listings going live 7 days a week, like you're not putting out 20, you're not shipping 20 items a day. And part of that's because of what your pricing strategy is as of now, not just how active you are. And so I think that it's about kind of changing our mindsets. I know for me, to me, this is almost like we're pre-gaming for our New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of like, we're doing, kind of slowly thinking about how we want to change things. And so I do want to get to a point where I'm not going to change anything with my other platforms, but like when I sit down and list, let's say I list, if I do start listing everything to drafts, that would just be eBay. I would just go ahead and make whatever I list that day live on my other platforms. But eBay doing that listing to drafts and I would be a little bit more conservative and say I would want to do like 10 a day. But listing throughout the week so that on the weekend I can make 10 live on those days. But also I do all my stuff in batches. So like I said, I took photographs of 100 items yesterday. I still have to measure the rest of them. A lot of times when I'm going through that process, it's like a good day or two where I'm not listing anything new. And I want to eliminate having those days where I'm not listing anything new. Now, I will take care of that by just ending some old stuff, but I want actual new stuff going out every single day. So I'm going to get to that point. I want to change how I do my pictures. I know Vicki and I talked about this a little last week, setting up kind of like a drafting table type thing where it's at an angle where I can stand and take pictures and do flat lays, and it's a lot faster, but it's not killing my back.
I'm never going to do flat lays for
Probably, yeah. But for me, that's something that could probably speed up my process a lot more and make it a lot easier, not having to take things on and off my half fanny. And then also getting the little, I know Tech Sport's the one who kind of put that together, that measuring stick thing. And
I'm also never going to use that.
And maybe not stepping away from doing the size lay. I don't know. That's going to be hard for me. But I also know if I don't have to go through the process of my measurements and writing stuff down, that's going to save me in those 2 days of processing probably a good hour and a half.
Right. So I'm never going to do that because basically for what I'm selling, I can't sell vintage clothing in a flat lay. It looks like shit. It's never going to look nice.
It's great for t-shirts.
I also am not going to have a measuring tape in the photos because that also looks like shit for high-end stuff. So I totally get it for like a t-shirt or sweater, maybe even some jackets or some blazers. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, you do you. That's not what I'm going to do.
But I might not even use that as a picture.
Talk?
Yes.
So we're going to, I'm going to be having my lister doing a lot of that stuff. I'll still be doing the hard goods that I do and the linens and things like that and the shoes. But for me, it's more about the consistency of making sure to get X number of listings done 7 days a week without fail, period, end of story. Having them scheduled if I'm not going to be home. Making sure that listings are still happening when I'm not home. I don't care as much about extending the handling time. That doesn't really affect my sales a ton. So whether I have somebody to ship for me or not is not that important. It's more important to make sure that I have the stuff listed consistently. And am I going to be able to get 30 every day? Maybe not. That might be too lofty of a goal for me. I might have to do 10 live and 5 in the draft bank daily. That's definitely achievable, but I don't know if I can do double that. So we'll see. And I'm going to see how that works for me. I do know that when I list consistently, I sell consistently. Funny how that works, right? I mean, we all know that. So I still have my VA, Robin, who does my cross posting. I'm not going to be focused on just one platform. I cannot do that with what I do, and I don't want to do that. It doesn't take me any extra time to cross post, and it doesn't cost me a lot. So I intend to continue cross posting. And again, I just want to make better use of my time so that if I do this the right way, I can work 5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
So as far as like the ruler goes, I like the way the Sizely looks. I think it looks very professional. So I wouldn't actually take the picture and put the picture of the ruler in my listings. But the way I do it now, if I have a t-shirt, I put it on a mannequin. I do this. I take a picture to take it off, take a picture of the tag. Then I have to go lay it down, take a measuring tape, go this way, take a measuring tape, go this way. If I have a flat lay, it's literally take a picture, lay that down, take a picture, turn it over, take a picture. And then when I don't have to write anything down. So that's a whole 3, probably 4 hours a month that I'm eliminating, but I would still do the Sizely because that's super fast and I think it looks better. I don't like looking at rulers and pictures either.
Well, I think that would save you a ton of time doing it like that personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't in the other person's group, and I think anybody that watches me consistently knows how I feel about that. whole situation. But I have nothing but respect for this person, and I only know one other person that he has as his one of his experts, Michelle Belisle. I know Michelle, and we've been friends for a while now, and I really respect her, and she's his clothing expert. Doesn't do a lot of vintage, and that's fine. I don't need to be taught that part of stuff. Sourcing is not the problem for me. I know that that's a problem for a lot of people. Sourcing and learning about sourcing and not buying garbage items.
Yeah.
I don't have that issue. So for me, I definitely need to shoot for
it's more about process.
The process and fixing the process.
And maybe and pricing philosophy, perhaps.
And if I sold only t-shirts and stuff like that, or mostly t-shirts, flat lays totally makes sense. All jeans, flat lay makes sense.
It looks good. Flat lays look fantastic.
100% for the right clothing items. I cannot sell a $200 vintage dress on a flat lay. It just looks
no, you need the shape. A t-shirt is just a
looks
rectangle.
like garbage.
So a t-shirt, I've seen many professional sites use flat lays as their pictures. So
I like the way that it looks on certain items. So for me, streamlining my process is more about being more consistent and still continuing to hire out the things that I don't like. Oh, see, there's Michelle with a Sunday lurker. So
no, but I think it's always, we get into like these habits of how we do things. And I know, there's certain things I know about myself that, okay, I'm not changing that, but I am going to pay attention and, how I've changed my sourcing over the last year or so. And there's certain, you have to change. You have to change. You have to wake up sometimes and be like, okay, this isn't quite working. And what was working for me before is not working anymore. So what are the things that I'm comfortable with tweaking? Or maybe like the discomfort is just enough that it's tolerable for me, that I'm willing to kind of move a little bit over this way and try things a little bit differently.
One of us is more stubborn than the other about that kind of stuff.
In some ways.
But I don't have a problem. Yeah, I definitely want to learn more. Obviously, I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. There's always stuff for people to learn. I definitely want to look more at not sell-through rate as such as far as brand names or clothing items, but sell-through rate on my store in general. Like I've talked about before, it's a lot more difficult when you sell vintage items because they're long tail. So I'm not going to have a 30-day sell-through rate and sell through 60% of my stuff. It's never going to happen. However, and that's why you have to have a larger inventory when you're selling, specifically vintage items. However, I am looking at having a higher, faster turnover and a higher and faster sell-through rate and implementing some of these things in order to do that. I'm totally willing to do that. And I'm willing to learn how to make that work better. And have better use of my time in general. Like I said, I have about an 80% sell-through rate year over year, if I'm just going by numbers. However, sometimes it takes 6 months to sell something. Sometimes it takes a year and a half, depending on what it is. I am going to be much more aggressive with accepting offers and getting stuff turned over faster, because if I haven't received a lot of interest with my sales and offers to watchers within this first 6 months, I'm probably not going to garner a lot of interest on the item. That might be something that only I think is super cool and that it takes too long to sell. And I don't want to sit on stuff for 3 years. I'm not in the storage business, as they call it. I am in the selling business. However, I'm never going to be pivoting and buying things just because of sell-through rate, if that makes sense. Because that's for different. Me is a job, and that for me takes the enjoyment out of what I do. If I don't love what I'm sourcing and love what I'm selling, I'm not going to love doing this job. So
that's totally different. The reality is that over the way that we both, in our own ways, have changed our sourcing approach, neither one of us really have any end of sourcing opportunities. And especially you with the vintage women's, your supply is not precious. And so
I can walk into any thrift store at any given time and find things that have been sitting out on a rack for 6 months that I'm going to sell for $100.
Yeah.
It's because most people don't buy what I buy, and most people don't know how to buy what I buy, and most people don't know how to source what I buy. So I don't really have a lot of competition, so to speak, when it comes to that, or at the bins, any bins.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so when you can buy stuff for $1, $2, it's like, it's having to change that mindset of being like, okay, but I know what this is worth and what people are willing to pay for it.
Right. So I may not be waiting to get that $100 that I think it's worth. I might be willing to sell it for $60 if I only have it $2 into it. And I've got to be better at that. That's really that's going to increase my sell-through rate.
That's a hard habit to break, I think, for both of us, is to kind of recognizing like, okay.
I mean, there are some things I'll probably never budge on. If I've got some couture piece.
Well, yes, if it's something like really special, but
So I'm willing to learn. I will say that it's an overwhelming amount of information. I have to file it down, and I'm going to have to actually listen to podcasts, which I've never done. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to anything while I'm working. I don't watch anything while I'm working. I watch background TV that I don't have to pay attention to, and I don't enjoy podcasts. So that's a mindset I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to figure out a way to do this, at least a couple of the things a week to pay attention to. I'm never going to be doing the 6 a.m. calls. It's not my thing. And I know that of myself. So
see, and I love podcasts, but I don't like taking in content that has anything to do with my work, because I'm already working. I like to mentally escape while I'm working, and mentally escaping is not listening to podcasts about reselling. So that's where it's a little
and I think the motivation in the group, and again, I'm getting nothing for saying this, but I do know that you guys listen to us, and we have a very strong what do you call it? I guess a conversion rate if we talk about a product or a service or something like that. I will say, if you have the money to invest in your business and you're looking to shake things up and learn new things, $35 a month is a ridiculously reasonable rate for the amount of content they're giving you. It is too much content, but you have to figure out what parts that you're going to digest yourself. So it's not just the podcast, but there's all the special calls for all the different people and different categories that you want to learn more about and dive deep about. And it's a fascinating amount of information, way too much information for me to ever digest. So I just need to take it off in little chunks. And same with you. If you're looking to change things about your business, if you're looking to learn how to do better and be better at your business, the proof is in the pudding. The people that he has that have been following his steps for years, and not to mention just the person that completely copied his entire business model and partnered up with him for a while there. The numbers are crazy. So, the number is there, what he's done and what I've done. So, I'm interested in seeing what I can do and where I can do it. I've made my own marks. There's people in the group that are putting their accountability posts up there like, this is what my 90-day total looks like now, and this is what it's going to look like in another 90 days. And I'm probably never going to do that because I don't want people to see my sell-through rate is so low. But I know what my numbers are, and you guys that watch us know what our numbers are. So, I want to know. I already know where my numbers are. A lot of people don't know where their numbers are, and that's half the battle in this business. But I already know what I need to make and how I want to change. So,
and you can learn from people without trying to be exactly like them. Like, I'm never going to be the kind of seller that Tech and Sports is, because that kind of grind is absolutely not appealing to me. But you can take little tidbits and bits and pieces of it and be like, okay, but what is it that what is it about what he does that is successful, and how can I scale it down to being something that I want to do to implement in my business without having the goal of being in that position. I have no interest in having 40,000 items or listing 100 t-shirts a day. Like, no, but I do need to change what I'm doing now to make it work better for my business to where I am.
Yeah, as Michelle said, that's what I like about this approach. It's kind of like our approach and what we've been saying all along. There are many, many ways to do this business, and there are many people that do it well and in many different ways. You need to find what things work for you in your business and what you consider success. You don't have to be $1 million seller to be considered a success in this business.
And if anyone tells you that there's only one definition of success, you shouldn't be watching them or listening to them.
100%. And you should not be listening to people that belittle what you do and make you feel less than because that you're not hustling hard enough, or you're not making $1 million, so you're not even a real business. Fuck them and fuck that. Sorry. No. I mean,
you made it over an hour into our show. So
I said what I said, and I mean what I said.
She said what she said.
I don't care if for you $1,000 a year extra money is good enough, then good for you. You go get that goal, whatever that goal is. Some people want to have a conglomerate and have 15 employees and huge warehouses.
No, thank you.
Do what you want to do to get to where you want to be, but whatever you consider successful for you and whatever that means, work toward that goal. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
And don't let people ever make you feel like you're less than because you're not doing
it the way
they're telling you to do it. Because there are lots of ways to make this work.
Success is different for everybody. So it's more a matter of like, are you happy where you're at? And if you're not, then what do you need to change to get to where you want to be? Whatever that is.
All I know is that my numbers are down about $75,000 this year from this time last year altogether. And I want to get back to where I was before. Mm-hmm. So, and that's where I want to be. My goal is to increase my gross revenue by about $100,000 by this time next year. And I can do it. And I know I can do it. So I'm going to be using tools and changing my processes to get there. That's it.
Yeah.
And work doesn't have to be a sweatshop. You're right. 100%.
But some people want it to be, and that's okay for them too.
I have to like what I'm doing. Like we've talked about before, my brother is a huge Amazon seller. My brother and sister-in-law have like 5 employees. They have 3 businesses that they handle. They're doing multi-millions a year on Amazon gross sales. But it's just a numbers game.
But they may really enjoy doing that. That's not what I deem enjoyable.
My brother is very analytical. He likes Amazon because this is numbers in, numbers out, ranking here, ranking all that. Yeah. I don't have any interest in that.
Not exciting.
So boring to me.
Yeah.
Even though I know he makes way more money than I do.
And like our friend Trish, she's never been a thrifter. She has no interest in thrifting. Like she's not, her dopamine doesn't come from finding the one treasure in the thrift store. She likes finding deals and the bigger picture, and so it's very different. Everybody has a different thing that like fuels them, and for me, like I love the stuff that I buy and sell. But you know what? I've even made changes to that over the last year.
I love being able to travel to source. I love being able to go on these sourcing trips with Katy and with my friends. I love being able to travel in general, and I love being able to volunteer and give back and help the community and teach people. And with our reseller remix and this channel. And being able to do all of those things, that's what makes me happy. And doing that, I need to be able to make enough money to do that. So that's it.
Yeah, see, and our friend Emily here, she's going to be 65 in February. She gets Social Security, so she just wants to consistently make about $1,000 net a month. She
exactly. So Emily just wants to do this. This is a fun side hobby. She doesn't want to work hard at that. She doesn't want to have to hustle 10 hours a day.
And she gets Social Security. She doesn't want to, it messes that up if you make over a certain amount.
It doesn't mess up retirement Social Security.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Whatever.
It's only disability.
She doesn't need it.
Yeah, and good for you, Jesse. Like that's a big... You left a stressful job that was impacting your health. That's exactly the way that, life currency is and is worth far more than money in the bank, in my opinion. And everybody has whatever their priorities are. So life is short, people. Enjoy it. Pay your bills. Do something that you love. Spend time with people you love. That's it.
It's true. All right, let's wrap it up. Thank you guys as always, and please, continue to put your goals in the comments after the show is done. We love doing this with you guys, and I feel like we're pretty transparent when we're like, yeah, we totally failed, we completely screwed that up, we didn't do any of this stuff that we said we were going to do last week. We're full of lies.
We are pretty. We're pretty honest.
And we're gonna do that. We're not pretending like we know what we're talking about. Our whole point of kind of switching up our Sunday show and showing, and doing it in this way is as much for us, if not more for us, than it is for you guys. Just trying to be, at least, even if we don't succeed, at least we're being a little bit more mindful and like kind of talking about like what is it that we're trying to do. And it's like, okay, that didn't work. Now let's try this. And just kind of, keeping it transparent and keeping it out loud into the universe.
Real, as Jill says.
Keeping it real. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Keep an eye out. We will have a couple of haul videos this week. The next few weeks, you're going to get to see all the cool stuff that we found in Colorado, because let me tell you, it's going to take a lot of videos, because I know for me, I found a lot of cool stuff that I'm really, 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 really excited to share. So,
all right. We will see you guys next week. Have a great week. Bye.